And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the podcast. I'm your host, William, and I'm here just by myself because I'm the only one qualified to talk to you about today's topic, and that is Shark Week versus Sharkfest. Now, I've been a huge fan of sharks back since, I first saw Jazz for the first time, and I've loved them ever since then. And I've been watching Shark Week for years. I mean, so many years. And I don't know how, I've never heard of Sharkfest before. And so Shark Week is on the Discovery Channel, and Sharkfest is on National Geographic, just the regular Nat Geo channel. And I discovered it for the first time a week or two ago, and it kind of blew me away because I didn't know there was another shark series? I don't know. Well, I don't know how to describe it. So I mean, I know a lot about Shark Week, so I've tried looking into Sharkfest, and it's actually not a whole lot of information I find about it. It's different than Shark Week. Shark Week is, as you can hear in the name, a week of sharks, and Sharkfest is, and this is a little crazy. So Sharkfest originally started out like Shark Week as a single week of shark content, and they had that for a little bit, and then I think it was a year or two ago. Oh, sorry, it was 2 years ago that they switched it to 2 full weeks of shark content. And a year ago, they switched it to 3 weeks, I think, of shark content. And then this year, right now, they were just like, hey, just make it 5 full weeks of shark stuff. Which is cool, I guess. I mean, I'm assuming that the ratings must be so good that it warrants that. It'd be cool if Shark Week did that too, but I don't know what they'd change their name to. But I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about the differences in Shark Week and Sharkfest. Because it was kind of watching Sharkfest, I kind of didn't know what I was almost getting into. Like, I thought it would kind of be just like Shark Week. And it's very different, though. At least in my opinion, it is. I'm hoping you'll learn about this and maybe you start watching yourself. Even though Sharkfest is ending in the next couple of days, and then Shark Week will begin the 9th of August. And maybe, yeah. So, Shark Week, I could talk about all day. I love Shark Week. It's fueled my love of sharks. I have Shark Week merchandise that I fucking wear all the time. I have a Shark Week socks, and then my family one time got me this Shark Week just hand towel for the bathroom, and they put it out for Shark Week. I was like, oh, thanks. And then when they took it away after Shark Week's done, I was like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, Shark Week's over. I'm like, yeah, but I love that hand towel. And so they just keep that hand towel for me. So Shark Week, I like that they have a host, and they have that Shark After Dark, I think it's called, which is sort of like, you have it like a late night show hosted by the person who's hosting Shark Week. And what they do is they have people who were on the Shark Week episodes, or like on the documentaries, whatever you want to call them. So they'll have scientists on, maybe guest celebrities, and they'll talk about, what they did, why they did it. And it's really interesting. I really like that. Sharkfest is basically just here's just random shark stuff. There's nothing really tying it all together. There's no substance. There's no lore to the Sharkfest itself. They need to add it. But I think the big difference to me is so Shark Week to me is more, this is gonna sound stupid, but scientific in a way, where it's a lot more people who do research into sharks in the ocean, and they show you what they're doing, why they're doing it. They're showing you how they capture sharks, different species of sharks. I gotta say, from watching Shark Week, I have Shark Week throughout my life, I have definitely picked up I could definitely see certain types of sharks and be like, okay, I think it's that shark. I mean, not all the time. Definitely not all the time. There's way too many. But there's definitely a few, I would say a dozen, that I could be like, I know that species just by looking at it. And it makes me feel cool. It makes me feel really cool. But Sharkfest, it's more, I don't know how to describe it. It's definitely more bloody. It was not what I was expecting. So Shark Week, when they show attacks or anything, what they usually do is they'll tow a boat and have a dinghy in the water, or something that floats that's in the shape of a seal or something, and they use these experiments, all that stuff, and they never really show a shark attacking something, like a real live animal, or when they do, it's already deceased. It's sometimes they'll show it already devouring a seal or a whale carcass. So I was really blown away in Sharkfest when they'll just show an animal swimming, and then a shark will come and just rip it apart in the water. And I'm like, oh shit, was not expecting it. I mean, since watching Sharkfest these past 2 weeks, I think I've seen more blood than I have in my whole life. They're just ripping these animals apart, and I'm just like, ooh, I was really not prepared for this. Some of them I had to like be like, ugh, it was maybe a little bit too much. You'll just have like a seal like just chilling in the water, and they'll have like an overhead view. This is so crazy. They get such perfect shots of these animals like just devouring other animals that you almost think it was all staged. Like it's just an overhead shot, maybe a drone of some type. I guess it's probably a drone. And it's like, hey, we're focusing on this one seal. And then, bam! A shark just jumps up. You see the seal try and get away. It doesn't get away. They almost never get away. What's the fun in watching it then? And then you'll just see splashing in the water. Then the water will settle. And then you'll just see pools of blood. And then, like, there's usually a boat nearby where, like, the actual, like, the camera crew and all that stuff. And they'll put the camera underwater. And they'll just show the seal, like, fully intact, and it's just being ripped apart, shaken in the shark's mouth, and it just entrails are just coming out. There's blood just spewing from it, and you're like, ooh, Shark Week has never shown me this side of sharks. And I mean, one of the things, I mean, I told everyone I know about it. I even had my grandma, one day I walked in and I was like, quickly, turn on Shark Week. You have to watch this. So, like I said before, I've seen a few. I've always think the whale carcasses parts of shark attacks, not shark attacks, but when these documentaries show like sharks eating something, the whale carcasses are always interesting because it's like very just it's interesting to see how like the sharks behave in this. There's a pecking order where you'll have like the smaller sharks come first, then the bigger sharks will come, and you could tell when the bigger sharks are coming because the smaller sharks will just swim away because they know if like they're in the way they'll just be eaten too. It's crazy. It's pretty, but it's so cool to watch. So when they're talking about whales on Shark Week, on Sharkfest, you're thinking, oh, it's going to go down that same route where they're going to show us a whale carcass floating in the water and some sharks eat it. I was wrong. They lulled me into a state of comfortability. So they start talking about, great white sharks. There's a lot of them at the southern tip of South Africa. And these whales, I think it was the humpback whales, yeah, are usually in like the southeast waters of Africa. And that's where they go to mate. Not mate, but that's where they go to have their young, their calves. And they stay there a couple months. And then they make their way down the tip of South Africa and they circle around Africa, and then they go to the Arctic. And so you're watching, like, oh, that's cool, interesting. And then it immediately cuts away to, look at this young calf that was abandoned by the rest of the whales. And I'm like, oh. I can just swimming there alone. That's cool. And then they start talking about how they think a shark would attack this whale. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then they just show a shark attacking the whale. So you have this baby whale, this baby humpback whale swimming. And then you have this great white shark just swim up and start just killing it. And it's like like it's not screaming, but like it's making like sad whale noises like. And I'm sitting there watching like, this is dark. This is not what I was expecting. I came to watch sharks like swimming in the water being fed or something. Not them just murdering things. It was so cool to watch though. And I don't even know how animals learn this type of stuff. So what this shark did, the great white shark, it went after like right when the tail becomes like the big fin in the back. And then they talked about, so what it's doing is there's a lot of arteries in that part of the tail to, power the bit large fin in the back. And so the shark bites at that repeatedly to cut the arteries. So I'm like, whoa, that's like really fucking hardcore. And then, and they're showing this on camera. There's like they have an overhead view and again a boat view on the side. And so the shark is just ripping this tail apart. And then finally, it rips the arteries open and it just swims away. So now you just see a struggling whale, a baby whale, just trying to get away. But it's basically like limping. It's bleeding out all over the place. I mean, there's so much blood in the water. There's so much blood. Like, I can't even believe. There's like a trail of blood is leading away. And it's just swimming away. It's making sad whale noises. The great white shark is just like tailing it, waiting for it to like slowly die. And then you just have a crew of people on a boat like, this is so beautiful. Look at it. And you're like, these are some dark people. I wouldn't want to be in that boat because I'm like, what if they decide that, maybe we'll see how it attack a human and just dump one of them over. And so finally, the whale it's low on energy, it's bleeding out, and the shark's like, all right, time to fuck this calf over. So it just swims right up to the head, bites down on it, and then just stops swimming, and just lets its body weight drag the whale underwater so that it drowns. So I heard this story, I was like, this is like human levels of cruelty. It's basically like walking up to someone, slicing like a fucking artery open in their leg, watching them limp away, screaming, help, help, and you're just tailing them, and then you just go over them and start strangling them. And then you start eating them. I mean, it was so intense. But it was like, again, I mean, it was cool to watch. But yeah, it was, it was what it was. It was a little hard to watch the first time. But the 3 times I've watched it since, were way easier. Another thing, so I was talking before about how Shark Week feels a little bit more almost scientific with like, actual biologists and researchers like doing all this stuff, like being out at sea for like, months on end, researching in the deep ocean, these sharks. Sharkfest, it feels a little more like drama-y. So there's been a few times where they've shown like, survivors of the survivor of shark attacks and what happened to them in the shark attacks. And I mean, Shark Week does that too, but this one did something like this one, not for all of them, but this one episode really blew me away with how they went about it. So they'd have someone who wasn't the shark attack victim talk about what happened to their significant other, friend, family member, whatever, and they kind of portrayed it as like, did they live or did they die? Stay tuned to find out. And it's like, whoa, this is such a different way I've seen of these kind of shows. Usually it's like the person talking, and it's like, this is what happened to me. This is just like, want to hear if this person lived or died. And sometimes they lived and sometimes they died. And the way you'd find out was because then they would just cut to the shark victim, like, okay, so this is what happened to me. And if they didn't cut to that, you were like, oh, I guess they just didn't make it. Okay. Yeah, it was such a different fucking portrayal that I've ever seen these documentaries go. But yeah, I mean, they're interesting. They're good. I would definitely recommend watching them because, if you're interested in sharks, these are not cool stories, but they're just stories that are like, whoa, like that's how that happened. And I mean, Sharkfest definitely, like, I'm not like trying to say it's like the poor man Shark Week. They definitely have, good shows on, good documentaries. You'll see some familiar faces on both channels. I didn't know they could do that. Like Shark Week has a contract. Like you can only talk about sharks on our channel. So like not a lot. There's not a lot of crossover. I will say one almost thing I don't like about Sharkfest is that it's so you hear, oh, it's 5 weeks long. Whoa. I want to watch all of it. Not all of it, but I want to watch a lot of it. I can't wait to watch it. I don't know if maybe I'm just catching it at the worst times. I feel like I'm constantly, like, whenever I go to the actual channel, it's just the same thing. I mean, I'm like 2 weeks into watching it because I only discovered it 2 weeks ago. And at first, when I watch Shark Week, I have like Shark Week on each day. I'm like, this is the week of sharks. So with this, I guess I went in that mindscape. So I was like, oh, I'm going to, turn it on and see what's on. But I mean, you go 2-3 shows in and they just start repeating like over and over again. There's not a lot of content to warrant 5 weeks. So, I mean, I guess their idea is, casual viewers will come on like maybe like once or twice a week and catch maybe a different thing. But as someone who loves sharks, that I want to watch this, like I want to see all this stuff about sharks. I mean, it got old pretty fast. I mean, they have new shows on. I think it's like every night or like every couple nights at 8. And I mean, which is I love, but the rest of the day they have shark stuff on, and it's just stuff if you watch one full day of Sharkfest, you've seen the next couple days of Sharkfest. There's not that much new that's added to it. Whereas Shark Week, I mean, I feel like Shark Week, you can watch it, each day, and for the most part, they'll have different stuff on. Like they repeat every once in a while, but not to the extent that Sharkfest is doing. And I wonder, so So Shark Week this year is on August 9th. That's when it's starting. And it's pretty late because it's not the first time it's been in August. It's been in August a few times. But it's the first time it's been in August in maybe half a decade. Usually it's in July, like the middle, starting like the second or third week of July, and that's when it starts. And I wonder if that Shark Fest, now that they extended to 5 weeks, if they maybe they want to make July all of like shark material their channel. And I guess maybe, I don't know, this is all just speculation. And so maybe that's why Shark Week moved back. It's kind of crazy to think out of the whole year, there's just 2 shark things, and they're just going head to head right next to each other, battling for rating supremacy. And it's like, dude, just move them apart, which I guess is what Shark Week did. But I'm also a little bit surprised. Shark Week was the one that gave up and switched. I would have assumed that Shark Week was confident enough in their material to go head to head or fin to fin. Woo! Against Sharkfest. But I guess, they just didn't want to even bother. But yeah, definitely I think Shark Week when it comes to if you I don't know, if you had some weird I will only watch 1 week of sharks. Only one channel. I will refuse to watch both. Definitely Shark Week is definitely the winner of those when it comes to content. So I would definitely choose that. And so a little bit of a bonus for you guys. It kind of has to do with the topic, but not really. So, I don't really watch TV a lot. I'm not like 60 years old. I'm not watching CBS. I'm not watching murder porn shows like NCIS and all that crap. So I don't watch TV. So now when Shark Week's on, I'm getting, obviously watching more TV. And I haven't watched National Geographic or Discovery Channel in months, years. I don't fucking know. I'm only tuning in for this shark stuff. So, I don't know. I guess I'm out of the loop. I don't really know much about National Geographic Channel, what they show. I see commercials for all their stupid shit, like where it's like fish stuff, but it's mostly just drama shows. Like, oh, watch these people, fish, fish for fish, but look at all these weird hardships that they have, and it's like, okay, whatever. I don't want to watch that. That's stupid. But I was watching one documentary. For some reason, it's like shark, shark, shark. And then one day they just had this weird 1-hour documentary of animals killing. Now, so I was like, is National Geographic just if you want to go to watch an animal die, you go there? Because that's what it seems like. They do not skip out and watch this animal run for its life. Do we cut away? No, you'll just watch the animal get killed. So it's really weird. It's really weird. So I'm watching it. And they're teasing me. They tease me. They got me. They got me. That's all I could say. So they start out talking about this polar bear, female, and her cub, and how they're trying to survive. And in my mind, see, I watched on the BBC channel. What's it called? Planet Earth, which is a documentary series about different animal species on the planet. Great documentary series. Definitely should watch it. And I remember I watched that once, and it talked about a polar bear and her 2 cubs. And for 40 minutes, you followed the hardships. And at the end of it, one unfortunately passed away, but one survived. And so I was like a yay moment. So I'm watching this, and they're talking about this cub and his mother, or its mother. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I can't wait to show us this adventure. What's going to happen. I kid you freaking not. 30 seconds in, while they're talking about this, they it's almost like a wrestling match. Like someone came in with the Money in the Bank contract. They zoom out, and it's like, and there's a male polar bear running at them. And you're like, oh, what's happening? Can they escape? So they show the cub and its mother running, and then the male polar bear just catches up, and just starts ripping the cub apart. And you're like, why are you showing me this? I'm like, what the fuck's happening? They teased me. They almost made me care. They did make me care about this cub, and I want to see its struggle. And its struggle was only 30 seconds long, and it hurt. It hurt me so much. And then so just a 3-second clip, a 3-minute clip of here's a polar bear and its cub. Oh, there's another polar bear coming. The polar bear cub's dead now. Look at the cub being ripped apart. There goes the mom. She can't do anything because she's too small compared to the male polar bear. So the mom has to walk away. Goodbye, male mom. Let's cut back to the cub being ripped apart now. And I'm like, this is one messed up channel. And do I have to watch National Geographic more? And the more serious question, and maybe, am I a secret serial killer? I don't know. All I know is that my first victim would probably be me. Woo! Oh, last thing. This is turning into a rambling video. last thing. Sharkfest just goes straight up and shows you sharks having sex. Super close range. It's like watching a shark porno. It was so weird. Like, it's just... Like, you know, in Shark Week, it's like, you know, we don't know where these two species made. In Sharkfest, like, look at these two sharks intertwined with each other. Oh, here's the penis. And watch it, like, do, like, 6 seconds of pumps with no, like, you know, just absolutely no voiceover talking about the scientific aspect of it. It's just sitting there, and they're just showing clips of sharks having sex. And I was like, huh. Interesting. I guess. Maybe. I don't know. So that's going to be all for this video. You've delved into my hobby, which honestly, though, looking back, it kind of just sounds like a serious obsession. It's almost sick. But that's my opinion on Sharkfest. I thought was the weird, just my weird takes on sharks and shark themed weeks. And so, thank you for watching, and yeah, watch Shark Week. It's coming up. And yeah, I'm out.